Hello, good morning everyone. This is Dr. Sravanthi. So today we will be doing another lecture in the aircraft systems and controls, right? So we have seen in the last class about the pneumatic system, their components, their functioning of it, and then we have also seen the comparison of it, right? So today we will be talking about the air motors and types of it, right? Now we have seen that in the pneumatic system how bleed air is being taken and how it has been used, and how the heat transfer has been done, or what are all the different directional controls that is required, and so forth, right? So today we will be talking about the different air motors, right? So in the different air motors, the first one is the rotary actuator, right? So the rotary actuator meaning it is a rotary motion, right? So this is used to generate the rotary motion, and also it can provide the high rotational speeds up to 10,000 rpms here, right? And also it can transmit the high power at infinitely variable speeds to it, right? So therefore, in the air motor, the first category of air motor, if we talk about, it has its rotary actuation. Right, in the rotary actuation, the motor is used to generate the rotary motion, right? And also, if you're talking about the speeds can go up to some 10,000 rpms, right? So then, the different types of air motors, if we see, the first one is the vane type, then the second one is the gear type, a third type is the piston, and the fourth is the turbine, and for the fifth is the georotor type, right? So we will see all these different types of air motor, how are they, what are they doing, and how it's functioning, right? So the first, the sliding vane type air motor, if we see, now this, when you say sliding vane, this is most used in the industry sector, right? So this type is most common in the industries, and the vane motors, if you are saying vane, then there are about 3 to 10 vanes, right? So in this particular vane type of motor, then they are loaded with the spring or air pressure in their slots, right? So you have a spring, or there is some pressure in the slot, so that you are being pushing it, right? And the speed range is between 100 to some 2500 rpms, okay? And also it consists of a slotted disc in which the spring loaded vanes are going to reciprocate radially, right? And this is also mounted eccentrically in the housing, right? So that means what exactly is happening in this sliding vane type is, the sliding vane is mostly used in terms of industries sector, right? Mostly widely used in industries. And because we are calling it as a vane motor, then you tend to have 3 to 10 vanes, right? And in for the pressure you have spring or air pressure, right? Then the range is mostly varying from 100 to 2500 rpms here, and it is mounted eccentrically, okay? So the advantages of this particular sliding vane is, it is going to operate in the explosive atmosphere, right? So it can be operated in a very explosive atmosphere as well, right? The cost is also very low here, it is of a low cost, and it has a high starting torque here. You have a rapid acceleration, then it is a light and compact, it will also provide a wide speed range, right? So these are the main advantages of it, where you can operate in different categories of atmosphere, explosive, and it is also of low cost. It is having a high torque, then there is a rapid acceleration that you can get to it. Then it is very light, and it's also very compact, and it is also giving you a very good speed range sector here, right? So that is about the sliding wing type of an air motor, which is normally used in the industries. Now we look into the gear type air motor. Now it is a reverse of the gear type pump, right? Whatever the pump you see or now this is exactly reverse of that pumps, right? So in this, pressurized fluid is made so that it can flow over the teeth of the gear, right? Now this will rotate the gear, and and used fluid let out through the exhaust and back to the sump, right? So first what happens is, it's exactly a reverse, right? So you have a reverse to the gear pumps. You have reverse to the gear pumps. Now in this, once you have a pressurized fluid that is made to the, you have a fluid that is made to flow through the, gear teeth here, right? Now then this is been rotating here, right? When it rotates the gear, the fluid that is it let out through the external and again back to the, sump. Right. So then we again have piston motors. Right. Now in the piston motors, you have four pistons and cylinders that are arranged radially. Right. So you have four pistons here. You have four pistons. You have four cylinders which are radial. Okay. So four pistons and cylinders are arranged radially with you have a connecting rod to it. Right. Connecting rod. We have a connecting rod for each of the piston, right? Then there is a crankshaft, right? So this piston motors are going to have four pistons and four cylinders which are arranged radially, and there is a connecting rod for every piston, which are again connected with the crank of it, right? So this power and the strokes are controlled by a suitable distributor valve, right? The movement of the piston is obtained by either supplying the compressed air into the cylinder, right? So that is how the piston motor is going to be operated, right? With the four of the pistons, four of the cylinders, with the help of a connecting rod, with the help of a crank to it. The movement is, generated or it is obtained by the when you give that, compressed air into the cylinders. And then the different valves of it, right? So all the different valves are, classified based on different things, right? So once the classification is based on the function of it, then the other is based on the actuation mode or actuation method, we can call it as, right? So these are various classification of the valves, right? So first we will see the classification based on the function. Based on the function, you have pressure control valves, you have flow control valves, you have directional control valves, right? So these pressure control valves are used to control the pressure of it. Then the pressure, if it is higher pressure or if it is lower pressure, what is optimum pressure that is required, right? So that is being done here. So that kind of valve it is, right? Then we have flow control, because the marginal amount of the flow that need to be entered or not, right? Then again the direction of it, in which direction it need to be redirected, right? So then we do have again a classification that is based on the method of actuation, right? When you talk about the classification based on the actuation, you have a directly operated valve, you have a pilot operated valve, then there are mutually actuated valves, then there are electrically actuated valves. So these are different actuation modes, right? So one is directly operating, the other is pilot operating, then there is a mutually actuated, then there is an electrically actuated valves, right? So this is the picture we can see the fluid power control valves, right? So basing on the, a valve, right? So all the valves. So here we have pressure control, we have a flow control, we have a directional control valve to it, right? So under the pressure control valve, all that we can see is a pressure relief valves, right? So these are directly operated, right? So you have a PRVs, we have seen these pressure relief valves are nothing but PRVs we have seen in our arena when we are talking about the electrical systems, right? So we have PRVs which are directly operated, which are pilot operated. Then there is a counterbalance valves to it, so that you can counter the balance of it. Then you have pressure reducing valves, PROs. We have seen PROs and PRSOs, pressure reducing set of valves, or you have pressure reducing valves, right? So then you have sequencing valves to it, right? So these are all different that come under the pressure controlling valves, right? So we do have flow control valves. Under flow control valves, you have non-compensated flow control valves, so which is not going to be compensated. Then you have a pressure compensated flow control valves to it. There is a temperature compensated flow control valves to it, right? So we have another thing which is directional control valves. So in the directional control valves, there are 2x2, 3x2, 4x3 valves. So these are manually operated directional control valves, or solenoid operated director control valves, or pilot operated director control valves, cartridge valves, check valves, directly operated or pilot operated, right? So this is the flow chart that shows about the, classification based on the functions, right? So in the function we have this pressure, flow, and directional control, right? So in this particular pressure control, we are looking into the pressure relief valves, we are looking into the directory operated valves, the counterbalance, the PROs, the squenching thing, right? In the flow, if we see, you have a compensated valves, you have non-compensated valves, and you have a pressure compensated in it, and you have a temperature compensated in it, right? So that is the flow, right? So which flow is being controlled. Then you have a directional control. In the directional control, you either have a manually operated, right? So you can operate manually, or you have solenoid operated, right? Or you have pilot operated, right? So all these are about this particular flow diagram. Then we have ball valves, right? Now what are these ball valves? It is also known as on and off valves, right? And is primarily used for a simple shut off operation. It's a normally on and off operation, right? So as per requirement, if you have a requirement, then they are normally open or normally closed, right? So these ball valves are simply on or off. They are if you want it, they're normally open, or if you want to close, they're normally closed type of valves, right? So these ball valves are compact, right? So they are completely good in design, easy to handle and easy to maintain, right? Because you open normally, you close them normally, right? So these are again used for high pressure applications and have wide range of applications like water, acid, and solvents, right? So when you are saying it is used for the high pressure application, whenever that high pressure is required, high pressure flow is required, only then these ball valves are open on or off or shut off, right? Then we have something called throttle valves or butterfly valves, right? So these throttle or butterfly valves are going to consist a disc, right? So you have a circular disc, and there is also a shaft at the center, right? So the shaft is going to fit in the cylindrical bore of the valve bottom, right? So when you have disc with a shaft, this fits in the bore, right? So then there is a quarter turn rotation of the disc, which is going to open or close the valve, right? So it is again simple in design, right? The design is simple, it is compact, it is also low weight, and it is having only very few moving parts or component parts, right? So that means, what are we trying to suggest here? For a throttle valve or a butterfly valve, you are going to have a disc which is going to have a shaft, right? And the shaft is going to fit in the bore exactly of the valve body, right? So then you have a disc which is going to open or close that particular valve, which is butterfly or throttle, right? So now this particular design is very simple, right? Very good, compact and all, and it's also lightweight, and it has only very few, right? The component parts in it are very few. The quarter turn action offers a quick opening, right? So there is a quick opening or there is a quick closing with ease in operation, and the valve has good flow control characteristics, right? So in the wide open position, the only obstruction to the flow is either due to the thickness of the disc, hence the pressure can drop across the valve, which is going to be very smaller one, right? So then we have pressure control valves. So in the pressure control valves, so these are mainly used when you say pressure control, they are going to control the pressure, right? So the amount of pressure is required, only then that pressure is being passed on to it, right? So that means it is a desired pressure, maintaining the desired pressure, right? So these pressure control valves are used to maintain the desired pressure levels in the various parts of the circuit. Now this is achieved either by diverting the high pressure fluid to the flow to low pressure area, or by restricting the fluid flow to a certain areas, right? So that is what it is going to do. The pressure control valves are going to maintain the desired pressure levels in the various parts of the circuit, right? So then we have types again. Now in this again we see types. The different types are pressure relief valve, you have a pressure reducing valve, you have a sequence valve, right? So in the pressure relief valve, this is also called as the safety valve, right? So these are used to limit the pressure in the system, and also it is going to protect the individual component and the lines from the high pressure and danger of bursting, right? So this relief valve performs this function by diverting the excess flow from the pump to the tank, or again to the reservoirs, right? So what exactly we're trying to say is, pressure relief valve is a safety valve, right? So it is completely a safety valve. It is limiting the pressure in the system, and also limiting means it is not going off the limits. Off the limits, if you go, you can have or you see the problems in it. So therefore, you are limiting it, and you're also protecting the individual components and lines and danger from the burst. So these relief valves perform the function by diverting the excess. What are the excess that is there? The excess needs to be diverted elsewhere, right? So this excess is being diverted either to the tank, or it is completely going to the main line, which is the reservoirs, right? So then we have pressure reducing valves. So these are used to limit the pressure. So you are limiting the pressure in certain portions of the circuit to a value which is lower than that in the rest of the circuit, right? So their applications are important where limited pressures must be controlled for operations such as clamping like metal objects. These again work on the principle of throttling through an orifice having a variable area. So these valves are normally open type. So they're not closed type, they're completely open type of such, right? So these are used mostly to limit the pressure. So when you're saying pressure reducing, you cannot have excess pressure or over pressure, right? So you need to maintain that amount of standard where your pressure is limited. So only that lower amount of pressure levels flow are going to enter. Otherwise, you can again see danger in it, right? So limited, and so they are going to work on the principle of throttling through orifice, right? So these are normally open type. Then we have a directional control valve. Now in the directional control valve, the primary function is where you give the direction to it, right? The control how the fluid or the how the flow should be, right? So the function of directional control is to direct the fluid to the flow through the desired passage and in the desired direction as per the requirement, right? So this flow of fluid is then used to actuate the hydraulic cylinder or the position of the other components in the hydraulic system. In case of any rotary motion, the fluid flow in specific direction is used to decide the which direction you have that particular rotating element, right? So therefore, when you talk about the direction control, its main function is give the direction or to direct the fluid so that you have a cleared passage or there is a desired passage to it, right? So desired passage in the desired direction as per the that particular requirement. So then this flow can be used to actuate, right? So you have the actuation, or there's a position of other components in the hydraulic systems, right? So in the case of any rotary motion, the flow is going to be in a specific direction and it is going to be used in the element direction, right? So then last we have check valves, right? So when you talk about check valves, they are going to check, or the flow, it is going to check the proper flow of it, right? So it is also called as a unidirectional or a one way or non-return valve, right? So it is completely going to be in a single direction. There is no return valve to it. So you have figure which is a construction of a check valve, right? So now this particular check valve, if you see, which is unidirectional or it is a non-return valve, that means it has a spring-loaded poppet, right? So you have a ball type which is a spring-loaded poppet, which will be lifted off to its seat when the fluid pressure is entered. So when the fluid is entering through the inlet, you have a ball which is going to be popped up, right? Now this fluid gets the enough passage so that it goes out, right? Now this valve again, it does not allow the fluid to flow in the reverse direction. So there is no again a reverse direction of it, right? So this particular reverse direction is not there in this check valves, right? So that means your check valves are completely unidirectional. They are one way only. There is a non-return valve. Now this is completely going to show the construction, right? So you have a spring-loaded poppet ball which is lifted, and the fluid pressure is entered, and when it is entering, you have the desired passage, the amount of sufficient passage so that you can flow out. But once it is flowing out of it, there is no coming back, or there is no return or reverse direction to it. That is why it is called as a check valve, right? So these about the different valves we will close at this point, right? So in the next class we will again continue with the different types of valves. Okay, thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.